I was asking about the renewal of the driver's license, how to avoid it if we can. What would be the process for that?
My belief, and I don't know if this is what Greg's belief is, but this is just my belief. What I would do, I'd make it beyond simple. And like I say to people, I'm not one of these guys who hate the government, or hate the system, or I think it's a beautiful, lovely thing. And now everybody's going to boo and hiss me because I'm not one of these crazy, guys who hate everything. I understand that there's a purpose and function for everything. I don't care if you're the devil, there's a purpose and function for that guy. I don't care.
Right.
All I'm trying to say is, you're going to be traveling through somebody's district. You're going to be driving through somebody's house. You're going to be driving through somebody else's control or authority. So all I say to people is, let the people know that you're coming through their community or their county or their state or their town. Let them know that they don't have to be afraid of you. And so what I would do is I would go to the state wherever you are. What state do you live in?
Florida.
Florida, there you go. You go up to Tallahassee. Well, you write to Tallahassee to the Secretary of State up there. And you tell the Secretary of State, it's my belief that driver's license is a privilege. And you're basically saying that the legislative branch, up in Tallahassee, has no capacity to license what is lawfully I have by right. So what you're basically saying is you can't license what is lawful. Or they can't give you a license to something that what you would be doing would be unlawful, what you would be unlawful. Like I said, they can never create a license which would give you the right to kill somebody or the right to take over somebody else's house without due process. So the government can't license something that's unlawful. So to get a license, what you must be doing then at all times must be lawful to do. So if it's not lawful, they can't license it. So lawful means if you was only like two people on a planet with somebody else, you wouldn't have to go to that person and say, hey, can I have your permission to drive a car? You'd say, why am I wasting my time talking to this guy if I have the right to drive a car or not? I have just as much right to do whatever I want as the last man on earth has to do what he wants. So I'm doing what I want. He's doing what he wants. As long as we don't hurt each other, we don't have to go around asking each other permission to do everything in our lives. We don't have to say, oh, can I do this? Can I do that? You don't have to go around. He's not your mommy. He's not your daddy. You're on equal standing. So as long as you don't do anything that causes him harm, you can live on Gilligan's Island and say, okay, well, I'm going to do this on my side of the island. He's going to do this on his side of the island. So all I say to people when any kind of licensing process is they can't license something that would be unlawful for you to do. It might be illegal for you to do it because they come up with all these rules. And like I said, if you and that man on Gilligan's Island made a and said that I will only take X amount of water out of the well, and we write a contract up and we agreed to it, and then you breached that contract, and what you did was illegal because it was established in writing and you guys agreed to the contract to not do it. Now, we know it's lawfully you could drink out of the well. There's nobody that says you can't drink out of the well, but when you bind yourself into a contract with the other party and say, I will only take 1 cup of water a day, you take 2 cups of water, well, now you just breached the contract and you caused that man harm. So you established an agreement or a contract or a code between each other that this is an ethical standard. These are the codes that we're going to live and die by. Because if you're drinking 2 cups of water a day, the other guy's going to die. So, but it's not unlawful to drink water. But if you agree to enter into a contract with somebody else, it would be illegal to drink X amount of water more than you're given. So what I would do is I'd make a contact the Secretary of State and say, what I'm doing is I believe I can lawfully travel throughout this state in a motor vehicle. And what I tell people and say, oh, boo-hoo, you don't have to get insurance. But to me, I'd say to them, look, I got a bond, and I posted a bond for, like when I was a contractor, I had to post $1 million bond to do satellite installs on people's homes or on top of a Walmart. Mm-hmm. So I had a bond recorded to the county recorder that if I did any harm or injury to somebody's property, that this bond would compensate for the harm or the loss. And so that's one way of doing it, and then that's what I believe into dealing with avoiding having to make any contracts with the state, because like up here in Maryland, the next state above us, there is no insurance on cars. And everybody says, wow, what do you mean you don't have to have insurance? I said, well, the way the state looks at it is everybody's an honorable, good, decent man and woman in the state of Maryland, which you guys probably laugh. It's like that's near Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. What are you talking about? Well, the rules are here in Maryland. is that if you cause an accident, as long as you settle the debt, as long as you compensate the victim of your transgressions or your trespass or your harm and damage to their car, their property, their person, then you never have to obtain insurance. But if you don't, and this man has to drag you, this woman has to drag you into court, and you lose, well, then you're going to be mandated to pay a minimum amount of, like, say, $1,500 a year for state-issued insurance. So they give you the choice. This is voluntarily. You could voluntarily go get your own insurance for $100, $150, $200 a year, whatever you can find. That's great. If you don't want to get insurance, don't. But you better settle your debts with the person you harmed, or we are going to mandate that if you drive from now on through the state of Maryland, you will have insurance, and you will be bound by a certain, policy, which, too bad. You had your chance to get cheap insurance on your own. Now we're going to nail you because you're dishonorable.
Hey, Carl. Okay, Carl, we're running out of time. Can I jump in, please?
Yeah, go ahead. Now you can tell the lady. What's your name, ma'am?
Truth Seeker.
Oh, Truth Seeker. There you go. Oh, good.
And Truth Seeker, you're in Florida, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter because all states are states. Anyway, hi, this is Greg. And
hi.
Carl, I hate to bust on you, but
go ahead.
You were kind of Carl, you were talking fast and you misspoke.
All right, that's fine.
Okay.
No, go ahead. I got no problem with that.
In other words, a license is only issued for an activity that would otherwise be unlawful, okay? Because you don't need permission to be lawful, okay? So that's the difference between, and I'm sure that that's what Carl meant, but he was talking fast, and it might not have come out that way, all right? And it doesn't matter if it's lawful or illegal, all right? Nobody needs a license. If I write a piece of music and you want to steal it, it's unlawful, all right? But if you want to use my piece of music on your website and I give you a license, that means that you can now do something with my property, all right? Because I've got a right and a claim to it, and so I have the ability to issue a license for my thing, okay? Because it's my thing. Now, the state says that their highways and their byways are their thing, not her thing, and that you don't have the right to travel on them unless you can get a license from them, and you can jump through hoops and stand on your head. But the Constitution and everything else that you know defends your right to travel freely across the land that we call North America, all right, at least south of Canada and north of Mexico.
Hey, Greg, hang on a second. I think this call automatically ends at the 4-hour mark, and we got 30 seconds left. So I think what I'm thinking she's going to try to ask for is how do we get some sort of a document to present to the police officer or state trooper when he stops us, and we say we have no driver's license, and this is how we're going to try to go and settle with the police officer so he can get on his merry way and leave us alone and not impound your car. Is that what you're trying to say, Truth Seeker?
Yes, and, what do you put on your car?
Right, exactly. So I think
what do you do for identification because of the Real ID Act?
Well, like I said, we're just going to let this call keep running. We went over the 4-hour mark, but if this call drops dead and dies, we'll just start it up again. But I'm just giving every fair warning that I believe these shows end at 4 hours. They might go to 5 hours. So what's funny is I want to let Janet talk because she's doing stuff with traffic licenses, and maybe she's got an idea. So let Janet try to give you some sort of advice what she might try to do because she's been trying to deal with driving without a driver's license for a couple of years now, and she had a little happy encounter.
Carl, no, if you don't mind, let me finish because you muted me when I was talking.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
I had to because I thought the show was going to end at 4 hours.
So let me just, I can finish what I wanted to say. That's most important.
All right.
All right. They cannot give a driver's license to a man. They can give a driver's license to a man's person. It goes back to what I said earlier in the call. And that is you have to understand the difference between you and your person. And that is why it's very important that you establish your status with the state, whatever state. It doesn't matter if it's Sears and Roebuck. I don't care what state. You have to let them know I am a man and I understand that I've got a person and that I'm not the same one and the other. Now, for example, I'm a total advocate of maintaining having a driver's license in your wallet. Why? Because the people who pull you over on the side of the road are not trained to understand anything more than that. Okay? And so we're trying to simplify our life. Yes, it costs us a few bucks, but if you do it properly, you establish your status on the driver's license itself. Every time you go back to the state Secretary of State to fill out a driver's license form, you always sign it with the word by, your name, comma, and then something like agent or authorized representative or an abbreviation. Anything that shows that you're not the name on the plate. Anything that shows that you're not the person named. Anything that shows that you are operating in agency and not as the principal. Okay? And if you endorse everything in the Secretary of State's office as an agent for your principal, your person, and not as the person itself, you automatically separate yourself from the entity on the plastic. And it is evidence that can go to court. I've done it, and it works. Okay? That is the simple thing to do on driver's licenses. Yes, they're a pain in the butt, but go ahead and do them, but separate yourself from the name on the driver's license by writing in your own hand by, your signature, comma, agent. And just do that.
Where I was coming from was with the Real ID Act and all the things that they're requiring, one of them being a biometric facial ID. It wasn't something that I wished to subscribe to for my own not religious, but spiritual reasons. So, besides the fact of the, finding out the whole thing of the shadow government. So it's like,
but it's like, who cares? Who cares? They've got the biometric data of the agent, not the principal.
But it's still you. I mean, you are you.
If you believe that your name is on a driver's license, this call is over.
No, I know the difference in the names and the different entities. However, as far as a biometric facial image, how would that be different? You can't say capital H facial image. I mean,
listen, these people are nuts about this stuff, and who cares if they've got biometric data and it doesn't relate to the name on the license, but it relates to the agent. And under the law of agency, you are not responsible for the principal because you're the agent. But you'd have to understand something about the law of agency. And then you would just go, hey, I'm just the agent. I'm not responsible for the actions of the principal. I've gone into traffic court and thrown a birth certificate at the court and won. Okay? Here's the principal. I'm not that guy. There you go. You know it. I know it. Done. Case dismissed.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Because I've got all my paperwork with the Secretary of State endorsed as I am the agent and not the principal.
Mm-hmm.
And the agent is never responsible for the actions of the principal. That's even in the UCC code.
All right, Greg. That's great, Greg. Now tell her, what does she do when a policeman stops her? What should she present to the police officer?
You give her the driver's license, your insurance card, and a smile on face and say, is there anything else I can give you?
But I think she was trying to avoid having any of the plastic paperwork.
No, you don't avoid any of it because what I'm talking about doing, all that plastic doesn't even represent you.
What I'm saying,
it's not even you.
Greg. You take a chill. All I'm trying to say is I'm trying to make it so she can try to understand it. What I'm saying is, say she says that Florida now demands $10,000 a year for renewal of a driver's license. How do you bypass it if she can't afford it?
If you want $10,000 a year, I guess we have to work on a different solution.
There you go. This is what we're trying to say. Say somebody just can't afford it. Just say that these counties and these states start getting ridiculous. and they want the renewal fee every year, and they want $300 to do it. What do we do?
If it's $30, it's like, okay, fine, whatever. It's just
say that. Say they start getting crazy, and they want your blood, and they want your eye scan, and they want your DNA to get a driver's license. And I agree. If it goes, Carl, I agree. If it goes crazy like that, then we just put an end to it. Well, how would you put an end to it? Go ahead, give us your solution.
If you really had to put an end to it, you just establish with the Secretary of State that you are not your person, and they have no jurisdiction over you, the man. They only have jurisdiction over your person, and you are more than willing to surrender your person forever to them, and they can keep it. Since they created it, they can have it back.
So what do you do when you get stopped on the side of the road by a policeman? What do you present to him?
If you have done this properly in advance of doing something wrong, and you have your documentation all together, you would present them that documentation from the Secretary of State's office.
So what you're telling us is to go through a process through the Secretary of State's office. And when a policeman stops you, hand you the communications back and forth to the Secretary of State. Is that what you're trying to say, or is that what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm saying you would hand the police officer the Secretary of State's acknowledgement that he has no jurisdiction over you.
There you go. This is what I was trying to say in the very beginning. All I'm saying is you basically go to the Secretary of State's office and you establish the fact that you can. And you're basically claiming to the Secretary of State's office if you believe that you could, since that which is mine by right, make your claim known to me. Until then, as far as I know, I'm a man or a woman. I have the right to travel. And until somebody tells me otherwise, I'm going to proceed lawfully across this land. And send them that communication and say and see how you go with that. See what their response is.
So has anyone done this successfully without being, pulled over and detained or arrested?
Well, until that time, until you get documentation through the Secretary of State's office, like with the seal of or him, whoever the Secretary of State is, I would continue on traveling with the driver's license or move this stuff as fast as you can. I mean, if you could get to Tallahassee, I don't know where you're living in Florida. Where are you?
I'm a couple hours from there, but that's not. It's more a concern of do I renew or not. I didn't want to renew, and I don't at the same time want to let it lapse without doing something.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
I'm not close to it, so.
Well, and that's why, like I said, if you're like in Fort Walton or Pensacola or something like that, or you're in Jacksonville, because that's a couple hours. I used to live in Florida. I know you're not in Orlando because you're taking about like a half a day away. So I know you got to be kind of close.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you wanted to move like lightning, I'd go down there and ask the Secretary of State, what all do you need from me in writing to show that I'm just exercising a right? What all do you need from me? And you say, is there anything else you need from me to say that I'm just traveling and I'm exercising a right to travel? And like I said, if you want to try to avoid the insurance thing, that's going to be a little tough because, like I said, some states accept the fact that they don't mandate that you carry driver's license. You don't carry insurance.
I don't mind paying for the insurance. That's not the issue.
Can you find a provider in the state of Florida that will issue you insurance without a valid driver's license?
That I don't know. That's why I was wondering if anyone had actually successfully accomplished any of this.
The only thing that I know is that
okay, Carl, it's really simple. The insurance is not on you, the man or woman. It's on the car. Who owns the car? Okay?
I own.
Well, why do you want to own a car? Because it just makes you liable. Why haven't you set up a small company as an LLC or a corporation? Okay? An LLC would be better. And you have a corporation. Your corporation owns the car. The corporation has the insurance, but you don't need.
All right, let's see. Ma'am, what do you kind of do for a living?
Self-employed, independent contractor.
There you go. So that makes it simple. So you already know 99% of what Greg's going to say next then.
Mm-hmm.
That you would you would incorporate your little business there, and you would have the car owned by Truth Seeker Inc. And then they would have to, and there you go, Greg. I just tried to knock out a lot of stuff you had to say, but go ahead now. You can finish up. Now you've got this corporation, Truth Seeker Inc. What would you do next, Greg?
Right. So Now the car, the insurance is not even in your name.
What about a trust?
If you want to do a trust,
it in a trust.
It could be a rocket ship. It could be anything.
The trust corporation. I don't care if it's Santa Claus or the Pope. All right, it's just not.
Or what about selling the car and to someone else, and have someone mentioned selling it and then having them sell it back and getting the MCO, blah blah blah.
You're not going to get the MCO. That ain't going to happen. That's just like urban legend bullshit. It ain't going to happen. You're not going to get the MCO.
Because if you, well, like I said, Greg, if you wanted to go really radical, like I know what she's trying to say with this stuff that a lot of people espouse, I'd say just grind all the VIN numbers off the vehicle. There you go. You grind all the VIN numbers off the vehicle. Then when a policeman stopped you, said, well, all your VIN numbers are gone. It's like, yeah, well, do you have a report of a 1996 green Pontiac stolen? No. Well, tell somebody makes a claim.
Hey, truth seeker. My cars are owned by my company. Okay? I don't own anything. I don't own my house. I don't own anything. On paper, I'm a pauper. I have no property. I own nothing.
I think I'm coming more from a place of principle. I'm not concerned about if there's insurance or not, or if I'm, blah blah blah.
What I'm trying to say is, if you truly own, because I hear all this MSO nonsense all the freaking time. All I'm trying to say is make it perfectly clear. If you truly believe you're the owner of the car, can you paint that car any color you want?
Yes.
Can you grind those VIN numbers off that car anytime you want?
I suppose.
Do you own that car? Do you think anybody has the right to tell you what you can and cannot do with your property?
No.
Well, there you go. If you truly believe that's your property and you want to stand on principle, I'd grind every damn thing off that car. There you go.
Okay.
Right. Ain't nobody standing what I'm doing. That's my private property. There you go. Do you want to do it on principle?
It's really hard to get the ones off the windshield.
What I'm saying, Greg, is screw this silly MSO nonsense. It's ridiculous because you're still trying to get into getting granted permission from somebody else's authority.
Yes, I agree with that.
You're still operating under somebody else's code system or numbering system or filing system or proof of ownership nonsense. I'm just saying I own it. If you, like I said, and there's one other man in Duval County or wherever you live, is he going to argue with you that you're driving a 1996 green Pontiac? Is he going to say, hey, that's my car? No, he's going to leave you alone. If all of a sudden he says, hey, man, that's my Pontiac, you think you're going to go around and argue about VIN numbers? No. It's ridiculous. It's my car. I claim that car. Anybody else made a claim for a 1996 green Pontiac? No. Leave me alone.
Oh, you know what? If you really want to have fun, Carl, grind the damn VIN numbers up, send a letter to the Secretary of State saying, I, owning this property free and clear, without any encumbrances, have elected to remove all VIN number identifications from it because they bother me. This is my property, and I'm doing as I see fit.
Well, you could say something that hateful. You don't have to tell them anything because you're not anybody.
No, send that to the Secretary of State's office with a warning and a fine schedule that if any of their constabulatories give you crap about doing it,
that you can do.
It's going to cost $10,000.
You can give fair warning that if you know. But like I said, you have to have, like they say to me, they have to have some way of referring back to you. Like they have to, when the police are stopping you on the side of the road, you just want to get down the road as fast as you can. So to me, it's like as long as you establish something like with the Secretary of State, and then what I would do is I'd go down to the local county sheriff's department and I'd let the sheriff know. I did that when I was in North Carolina. I was trying to remember what county I was in. But I went down to the county sheriff's department and I explained to the man, I'm in your county now. You're going to see me driving around with out-of-state tags. They're going to say Nevada. I have no intention on living here. I'm just going to stay here for a couple of months. And I was at High Rock Lake, Rowan County. That's what it was, Rowan County in North Carolina. So I'm going to be here at High Rock Lake at a mobile home I got up here for a couple of months. But no, I am not going to switch my tags. And you know what I'm doing up here. So when you see an out-of-state truck hanging out in a cabin, like in the woods, a trailer in the woods, it's just me. And if anybody says, hey, nobody's been in that mobile home for quite a while, and now there's an out-of-state tag and trucks there, you can say, oh, I know who that is. That's Karl Lentz. He's coming here from Las Vegas, Nevada for a while, and he's going to be on his merry way. So if you're basically traveling in Duval County, like if you live in Jacksonville area, you just say to them, hey, I'm going to be traveling here. You're going to see a green Pontiac. Every now and then somebody's going to stop me, because I'm going to put like a Freeman of Jacksonville on the back sticker, or say not for hire or private or farm use only. Whatever tag you're going to put on the back of your vehicle, say it's a truth seeker's car. Whatever you're going to put on as a tag, and say, we're going to have a little problem, I guess, every now and then with the county. So when a state trooper stops me or a police officer stops me, I'm going to refer them to your switchboard. I'm going to refer them to your person who does the NCIC background checks. And they're going to say, oh, yeah, that's Truth Seeker 1. We know who she is. She's all right. She's got this green. You stopped her. She's got this green 1996 Pontiac. Yeah, okay. Just let her be on her way. We know who she is. All these people want to know is that you're not Jeffrey Dahmer's brother or sister, and that you're coming through here to mass murder everybody. You've got to understand why these people are stopping you. Look at how many times that Ted Bundy slipped right through the police custody because he was a trauma. You got to understand why these people are like saying, hey, this is our job. We got to know who you are.
So have any of you done this?
No.
Is that how you're traveling, or are you still doing the old way with the driver's license?
Well, I thank God I got a federal commercial driver's license. So anything that happens, and they hand them a federal commercial driver's license, and they give me a ticket while I'm driving a private automobile, they wrote it under the wrong license. Ha ha. So all my stuff is written under it's like writing me a ticket and I handed them an airplane license, a pilot license.
Well, it seems to me most everyone I've talked to or chatted with or whatever, that's the case. They've got something like that with the DOT or whatever, blah, 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 blah. So, I guess I would pretty much be the guinea pig on this one that'd be testing it. And I'm not so sure that I, like that idea.
But it's the lady in Canada who did it. Like I said to you, this lady. Yeah, you just, well, no, I'm saying on YouTube video. You could Google, like, schedule fee, lady stops by a cop, tenders, Mounties. It's fine. She ran like 3 videos of it because it was so freaking long, and YouTube only let her put up 10 minutes at a time. And she's got hundreds of thousands of hits, so I'm sure you'll find it quite easily, like free.
And he set 20, how many days in, and that's what he was attempting to do, was just go through another area.
Yeah, well, like I said, that's the whole problem, is that every time you go, that's why, like I said, anytime people argue about credit cards or debit cards, they think it's a wonderful thing. Because for thousands of years, we had to carry tons of silver or tons of gold when we wanted to go from place to place. So now we just have to carry a piece of plastic, and we could go buy Donald Trump's condo if we want to. We don't have to use 3,000 tons of silver. How are we going to put 3,000 tons of silver to buy a house? Well, we don't have to do that. We just swipe it on our card, and we're done. So it's secure and it's safe and it's a fast and easy transaction. That's basically what they're trying to do with your driver's license. They basically got a spar strip on the back of it. They slide it through a thing in their dashboard, and then done. 2 minutes later, you're on your way.
Well, you realize they're putting that star on the license.
I'm sure that everything. I'm sure that into all kinds of nonsense. And like I say, that's what I'm saying. If you want to make these people safe and secure with you, like I said, I introduced myself to Rowan County Police Department, Sheriff's Department. And I told them why I'm there. I thank God I had an old 65 GMC. It was very distinguishable. It was like grape-colored and white. But it had Nevada tags. So I said, look, people are going to see me coming out of this cabin. It was like a mobile home. You're going to see me coming out of this isolated place with out-of-state tags. So you're going to get phone calls like every 2 seconds trying to figure out who this out-of-state guy is who looks like a biker. I look like a Hell's Angels guy. I said, so you know who I am. I'm not here to start no trouble, and me and my wife are going to be up there, and, this is what we're doing. So I let them at ease because I'm a stranger in that county, and so, like I said, instead of going through the rigmarole of proving who I am, why I'm in this mobile home, what am I doing up here by the lake, what did I do back in Vegas, am I going to stay here? I went and I introduced myself to them. That's the way I handle it. I go to them before I wait for them to come to me because I know eventually we're going to meet.
But that was all pre-Real ID Act, and with the Real ID Act, it's a different story now for the whole thing, for your identification, for getting on a plane, for entering a federal building, a library, a post office.
That's fine, but like I said, but I'm saying, the congressmen and the senators and president of the United States tell you. They said when you go on a commercial airline, this is what you have to do. Now, if you're going on a private airline, you don't need an ID. But if you're going on a commercial airline, this is what you got to do. Fly private. Everybody flies private. Nobody needs an ID. If you want to challenge it in court, challenge it in court. I think it's a hell of a case to say, I'm a man, I have a right to fly. Right? Not only am I being discriminated because I can't afford to fly private, the private guys get to never have to use an ID. The guys who fly private fly in a jumbo jet, 747, but they don't have to do all this biometric background scanning. Why do I? Just because I'm flying commercial. So there you go. There's a great lawsuit.
It is being challenged, I believe, in Alabama, I think, right now. They're waiting for the answer, to come back.
There's no such thing as an answer coming back. The jury makes its verdict. They're waiting for a guy in a black robe. They're not in common law court. They're not. They're going to lose. They're going to lose.
But it is out there right now, that's all I know.
What I'm saying is they're going to file a lawsuit under Title 42 under some sort of ridiculous civil rights action. And as a United States citizen, they're property of the United States government. They are so far down from not even a slave. They're so far under being a slave, they have absolutely nothing to say about nothing. They're part of this United States corporation. They're part of this United States family. And when you come under Title 42, you have no rights whatsoever. Daddy of the United States government is going to tell you what you can and cannot do. So the President of the United States is going to tell you what you can and cannot do. So when you file these silly Title 42 lawsuits, you're wasting your time. The governor, that Jesse Body Ventura, did that, and I laughed. I tried to write to them on a talk show, and it's like, you're going to lose. Because you have no rights as a United States citizen. You have duties and obligations and responsibilities just like any other citizen of the United States. You only have rights as a man. Once you diminish your capacity and status from that of being a man or a woman into being a citizen, I don't care if you're a citizen. I'm a citizen of a family. That's what citizen means, a member of a family. My last name is Lentz. I have duties, obligations, and responsibilities to all of the Lentzes. I have no rights. As a Lentz, I have no rights. That's how it works. As a citizen of my family, I have no rights. I have duties, obligations, responsibilities. There's a certain thing that my family demands of me. If I don't do it, they're going to basically kick me out of my family. They're going to disown me. So they expect a certain protocol and discretion. They expect me to do a certain standard to proceed in a certain manner, in a certain way. And if not, well, there's going to be penalties. Same thing with being a U.S. citizen. They're going to tell you to stand in line to be X-rayed. Why? Because you fail to maintain the status of that of a man. It's like, I'm a man. You think I'm a U.S. citizen? Is that what you think I am? Yeah, really? No, I'm a man. You can't do this to me. You work for me. You're my public servant. Where did I delegate authority over to you? You administrate my property, touch my person without my consent. Where did that happen? A little magic happened. And there you go. And that's how you started. By trying to go onto an airplane and trying to establish and maintain your status as that of man. Oh, they will put you into custody, and you will have the right now to file it through a common law court. And I'm sure you'll win.
And you better not do this on an airplane flight where you got to really get somewhere.
Right. Right. Obviously, do it as a test run. But if you actually know your status as a man, boy, you're gonna clobber their clock. But if you're going in there,
stuff like to Detroit where you don't want to go there.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm saying. It's like Jesse the Body Ventura, even though he's the governor, he said, I'm a man, Jesse the Body Ventura, the governor of the great state of Minnesota, ex-Marine or ex-whatever, Navy SEAL, U.S. citizen. He dropped himself from man to Jesse to Ventura down to a Marine. He dropped his status all the way down from man all the way down to U.S. citizen. All you have to do is I'm a man, and I have rights. And who dares to tell me what I can and cannot do? Who's making a claim that by me going out to that plane is actually causing them harm? Can anybody come forth under oath of affirmation by me stepping onto that jumbo jet, I caused him harm? Not speculation, not conjecture. It's like I say to people a million times. It's like say every single bank that's robbed in this country is robbed by men who are 18 and 25 years old who are black. Are you going to try to tell me that they're going to pass a law in this country that all black men under the age of 25 are not allowed in the banks because 100% of the banks are being robbed by men who are black under 25? That'll never happen. The banks are just going to have to take their chances. So are you trying to tell me, well, everybody who steps in the airplane has a capacity of blowing it up? Well, that's fine. So it's like, oh, well, we're just going to make it that everybody has to run through the scan? No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Of course, that guy's flying, private airlines. He's got the same exact plane, the same exact size, the same exact capacity. He's loading passengers up just as many in this plane as on that plane. And you're telling me I have to be X-rayed and they don't? For national security? This is ridiculous. You're doing it for some other reason, but it's certainly not for national security. And what's that great case we found, Greg, that says no matter if we're in war or it's a matter of national security, the government can never create a statute which would diminish the rights of a man. Remember that Finkelstein case, whatever the hell I found, that German guy? I forgot what it was. But there's a great case that says that. It doesn't matter if it's a matter of national security. It doesn't matter if it's a matter of a time of war. It doesn't matter if it's a national security interest. The government can never create a law which would diminish the rights of man. There you go. Nobody uses that simple case. It's a simple case.
You both mentioned the Secretary of State. Does that still apply if they're now asking you to renew license at the tax office?
That's what they're asking you to do?
Tax office. So does that mean they updated the administrative process so that's the tax office?
Yeah, I can guarantee they're asking to do it at a tax office because they're going to want your Social Security number, which is issued by the IRS to see if you have any back taxes. And if you have only back taxes, they're not going to issue a new driver's license until you satisfy the tax issue.
Well, and actually, with that whole thing with the Real ID and the Department of Homeland, they are now putting the Department of Motor Vehicles apparently under the tax office.
Well, like I said, if you want to breathe life into these people, you breathe life into these people, and you keep doing what they tell you to do until you realize that 25 hours a day, all you're doing is worrying about stepping outside of your front door.
Well, how about you and Greg and some of you that are doing these calls? You do a test because you guys are guys, and I don't think that females should be the ones to be testing and sitting in the slammer.
That Janet Marie lady did it. She got her window knocked out, and she got dragged out of her car. And she's
I'm here.
Yeah, China.
Let's hear what she has to say.
There you go. That's what I said.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
No, she hears you. She's wondering how
you have to make a stand. I haven't had a driver's license in 13 years. I haven't had insurance in about 12 years. And I did not have anything for the men on the road to figure out who I was. I gave them an identification card, gave them everything but my commercial charter. The VIN number was covered up with a tablet on the dash. There were no plates on the card. There was no way they could find this particular piece of iron or me in their system. I'd been out of their system 13 years, and the car had been out of that system, their system, for over 5 years. So rather than giving me the ticket that I asked for, just give me your presentation and I will deal with it. No, they had to break the window, rape me, and pull me out of the car and injure me. And so now we're at this place in the proceedings in the court that I think they have set this next hearing outside of the speedy trial to give them a way out, because I identified on my paperwork the money laundering that they're doing for the finance department, the CRIS report regulations, court registry investment system, sections of that, to where the person being charged has a right to say, you will not take anything that you generate off of this case and put it into the United States Treasury. You will give it to me. And I cited all the specific sections that say just that. All of a sudden, they've set this court hearing past the speedy trial 2 weeks. I don't know what they're going to do, but I have a feeling that they want me out of their hair. I have given them terms and conditions for my compensation to appear into their courts. I had just worked on a bill today and ready to have it reviewed. And the first one I did had some errors on it, so I got to send the second one out to have it reviewed, but this is it. I gave them a contract and said, if you wish for me to appear in your room, this is how much you compensate me for. And they had it, and they required that I come to talk to them, and they both stated on the record, the judges did, that it was their wish that I take their order. I gave them 10 days. They didn't do anything, so now they're getting a bill, and that bill will go into risk management, and it will go to the other entity sections that need to have a copy of it. Do I know exactly what's going to happen? No, I don't. Am I going to get that chip? No, I'm not. Am I going to send notice to the Secretary of State and ask him, tell me where their revised Code of Washington, which is prima facie, it's not valid law, where it can require me to do an unlawful act, and where they can make a lawful claim to do an unlawful act. I do need that case from you, Karl, because it's pretty important here in what you were just saying, then to give the Secretary of State the fair warning, who I am, what I am, here's my ID card, here's my choice not to be a part of your political affiliation.
Did they impound your car?
Oh, heavens, yes. Threw me in jail. Yeah. I will tell you the mistake I made. This was like the third time I was stopped. The second time, the address on my identification card, because the guy looked at the wrong spot, I gave him my birth country, which is where I was born, without any physical numbers. And that's what the young patrolman put on the ticket, my name without my commercial charter, which is your last name, and my address was birth country, Renton, Washington. So he didn't have any information because he honored their statutes. When I said, I've given you my identification card and I'm not giving you permission to look at anything in the car, on the car, around the car, under the car without a warrant in your hand. But that didn't work with the other 7 troopers the other night on the 22nd of January, which I had a witness on the phone with me during the entire ordeal. And they were going to break that window and they were going to harm me, and that was all there was to it. Well, it's coming back around the back end right now because, universe says tail will be the head, head will be the tail. And if you know in your heart and you don't have any fear and you come from that neutral zone in your soul where you don't give a damn one way or another, it's not going to affect you in your being no matter what happens, because things are going to happen for a reason. And I believe this occurred to me so that I could be a prime example of what you can do when I do get out of this, and I will get out of it. This will be the 4th ticket that I've gotten out of in the last 4 years, where they dismissed them either administratively, and I actually stopped the judge in the last courtroom about 2 years ago when I said, I accepted his offer upon proof of claim that there's a law that says I'm required to carry, display, hand, touch, whatever, their requirements. And I asked it 3 times, and he came right on the line and said, no, there isn't. Offer that you can exhaust administrative remedy of the court when there's outstanding discovery. No, there isn't. That you can punish me on a road that you don't own. No, I can't. And this was a state highway road. The point being is that most of the idiots on the road are so ill-trained. Most of them have an IQ of under 100. Most of them are mercenaries. But when it starts coming back around and hitting their families in their back pocket, things will change only when the people say, no, I've had enough. And we're now setting up the Court of Records, Common Law Courts of Justice, International Common Law Courts of Justice, to where all of these individuals are going to have to come in and explain their authority, which they don't have. And then they're going to have to relieve themselves of their precious belongings that they think are important to them and have meaning to them. And that's where it's going to be. And when the people start seeing that these are happening and they're being enforced, I guarantee you everybody out there is going to say, well, I want to be on the left side of the road, not the right side of the road. And that's what I'm doing. Am I still in the suit? Oh, yeah. Got 3 counties on my back. 3 different counties in the same area. You betcha. Am I afraid? No, I'm not. It's just a matter of putting together what needs to be done so that they stop. And I believe the knowledge of the money laundering, one item, money laundering through the finance department of every courthouse in the land. All you got to do is identify it and ask one question. Are all states uniform? If they're all uniform, then what is going on in California that's been researched, and I have the physical evidence, checks, accounts, account numbers, the whole schmear is going on exactly in the 3 counties that are after my butt. So you can come in and testify because I put all those people down as hostile witnesses. Come in and testify. Here you go.
MJ, number one, you're really an inspiration to a lot of people because, you did a lot of stuff previously where you were just speculating, but recently you've been thrust into a lot of things to handle it yourself, and I gotta salute you. You're doing a fantastic job.
Well, I'm just a little old grandma. I'm still trying to get with Carl on my family issue of getting my grandson back that was stolen from my son.
It's like your solidity and your fearlessness and your belief in something better.
I was not always that way. Now I need to tell the listeners. When I was young and growing up, I was so painfully shy that in school, if somebody walked down the hall and said hi to me, I turned around and walked the same way they did in order not to say hi back. Painfully shy. And I was ridiculed and laughed at because my spine is all messed up. I don't walk straight. I don't have a good body. Never have had. And then one day I stood up and said, that's enough. I'm not going to look over my shoulder. You don't like me? Keep on it going. The road's 60 feet wide. Don't let the door hit you in the rear end going out. And I stopped being fearful.
Well, and you know what? And your world and the world around you is a better place for doing that. Right?
And I went and I learned how to speak. I went and took speech classes and drama classes and got 2 degrees in it. And then I went on to get a teaching degree and teach for 16 years. So anybody can do, as my mother taught me long ago, if you want to do it bad enough, you'll do it. And so here we are today. We need to assert and we need to get every person, every one of the people out there that's a red-blooded, living soul to say, no, I'm not going to get your chip, and no, I'm not going to do it. And if you can make a law that diminishes my rights, let me know. Because if you say you can, I'm going to take you to task. And I'm going to take you to task in a common law court, international common law court of justice, where the people are the grand juries, not the establishment. And where we can order, you go sit in the cell for never see the light of day again, for all of your biological and chemical weapons of mass destruction. And that's all that stupid chip is. They want to put a chip in your car, so all they got to do is flip the switch and everything quits working. Well, that's my piece of iron. I paid for it. It doesn't have any, I don't owe a damn dime on it.
What was that movie with Tom Cruise? Minority Report, right?
I have never watched movies. I don't watch TV. I haven't for one heck of a long time.
There was a movie, a futuristic movie called Minority Report with Tom Cruise, where they had cars that were all driven automatically all over the place. Up, down, left, right, 3-dimensional. It had to be automatic because ordinary people would kill themselves trying to drive the way these cars were going. But every single one of them had biodata, knew who was in the car, so they could immediately, instead of going to the shopping mall, take you to the police station.
Yeah. Oh, I believe it. Tell the people stand up and say no, and half of these things out in the world that are there that do exist, and some of us have seen them, but you just have to say no. That's all Carl does. He says no.
They want the benefit. They want to be able to be drunk
Wait a second.
Go
Carl always says no. What do you mean Carl always says no? Who said, what do you mean Carl? Go back. I'm typing on a board.
You didn't get that. Okay, Carl. No for you, Carl, is I don't have to have that chip, and if you're going to make a law that says I got to have that chip to diminish my rights as a man, we got a problem.
Oh, I accept it. I accept their offer to place a chip, Mom, but I'm going to hand them a bill. No, I never say no. No is a controversial word, and I told my whole family, anybody teaches my kid how to say the word no, I'm going to break some heads around here because that's a fighting word, and I never say no. I always say I conditionally accept your offer, and you're going to pay me X amount of money, and I will be more than glad to carry out your order. You want a chip in my arm? I just charge you $1 million a day. Would you like to place that? Would you still like to place that chip in my arm? Yes. Oh, good. I'll take $1 million a day. I'll take the first couple of $1 million and I'll remove the chip from my arm. There you go.
Yes. Yeah, we can always dig it out ourselves.
I never say no. I mean, don't ever say to anybody that I called one of these fighting kind of. I mean, that's why I showed it on my website so that everybody can see the size I am, and that I'm not some wimp who just Carl just take it because they tell him to take it. You know, he'll just bend over. Yeah, I will. You got $1 billion? Yeah, hand me the bond. Hand me the cash. Let me see it. Okay, put in your chip. Here we go. If I believe it's worthy of just a fair compensation, why not?
If you believe it's worthy, it's like Truth, the gal on the phone here, Truth Seeker.
Yeah.
She's leery of the properties of those chips and what they can do to the human body and what they plan to program
If I thought of by putting a chip in my arm and somebody handed me $10 million and it irradiated my arm and my arm disintegrated off my body, if I believed that, you know what, $10 million would set up my wife and kids for the rest of their lives, I'd do it. If I believe that there's a direct benefit, the cost of my arm to secure and protect my wife and child for the rest of eternity, you better believe it. Everybody's got a price, and everything has got a price. It just depends what your price is willing to give up and what you need.
See, I don't have a price of dollars. Never had that.
What I'm saying is, if I could secure my wife and my child on like a desert island, if I had $10 million, I could put them in nice Tahiti Island and away from all this crazy nonsense. If it meant that I had to chop off my right arm, would I do it? Yes. But somebody's not willing to put up that price. Some people go to war. Some men put on a machine gun and they go to war because they think it's worth defending other people's rights to safe and secure protect people's property. They will actually put their life on the line and do it. God bless them. That's what I say and that's why I don't make fun of policemen. So when Jack Bauer and those guys go nutty on policemen, I go, no, these people are actually putting their lives on the lines to keep Jeffrey Dahmers from coming into my house and eating my child for lunch. So no, because I can't be there at all times. It's nice to know that maybe somebody could just drop a dime, call 911, and somebody might take care of their kid, my kid, when daddy can't be there. You know, so like I said, I don't totally bash these people, you know, and I know all these radio shows want me to say, oh, Carl always says no. And Carl always bashes. No, I don't. I don't bash the IRS. They'll bring you closer to God, believe me. They will get you down so low to the ground, they'll make you begging God for mercy. And then you'll realize, oh, my God, this was all fraud. Yeah. How long did it take you to realize that? Why did the IRS have to take everything away from you? Now you're sitting in a jail cell all by yourself. Now you're saying, my God, what did I do? How did I get here? And it's going to give you a little bit of time to think. And you're going to get closer to God whether you like it or not, because that's all you got. It's going to take away all the distractions and all the materialistic stuff in the world, and believe me, you're going to get closer to God whether you like it or not. So no, don't tell people Carl always says no to everybody. No. Carl is more than willing. He's a hell of a negotiator.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. For me, Carl, dollars is not what is important to me is because I have made the stand that I don't believe that there is any law that is allowed or available to diminish my rights as a woman.
I didn't say,
and unless they can prove that
I didn't say dollars, and that's like mocking or ridiculing my beliefs. I will stand in front of
No.
I'm saying I will stand in front of a train and get hit by a train if it will protect my wife and children. It's nothing to do with dollars. There's always a price you have to pay. There's always a price you have to pay, and I'm not talking about these silly little green pieces of paper. There's always a price to pay with everything you do or do not do in your life. When you step outside of your house, you make a left-hand turn or a right-hand turn. It all depends. There's a price you pay by stepping off your porch and running with the big dogs. Sometimes it's going to come out to your benefit. Sometimes you're not going to believe it is a benefit to you. But in the long run, if you're doing the right things at all times, you will see the benefit eventually. Eventually, it'll all make sense. Like you might have thought that God did a horrible thing to you. No, he didn't. He taught you a hell of a lesson. But at that time,
That's true.
You did not see the benefit in it. As long as you're doing the right thing, as long as you believe what you're doing is honest and good and fair and just, believe me, it'll all make sense to you in time. Maybe not right away. Might take a couple of years. But eventually, as long as you keep doing the right thing all the time, you'll see why you did what you did.